The future of any person's success is based predominantly upon the image they hold of themselves. By taking the time to understand the psychology and the physiology of the self, it can mean the difference between accomplishment and failure, bitterness and happiness, thriving and surviving. The discovery of the real self can rescue a collapsing financial status, recreate a faltering career, repair a dysfunctional relationship, and transform a life of mediocrity into a radiant existence. On a universal plane, discovering the real self means the difference between total freedom and the constraints of negative, habitual behavior. Through carefully comprehending the self-image and by learning to modify it to suit personal purposes, we gain incredible confidence and power in our ability to literally create what we want from life. We each carry a mental map or picture of ourselves that is perfectly capable of being altered if it doesn't suit the image that we'd really like to hold and live. The self-image is our own conception of the type of person we perceive ourselves to be. It dictates who we are to ourselves as well as to the outside world. This self-image is built upon our beliefs about ourselves that have unconsciously been formed from our past experiences, our successes and failures, our discomforts, our triumphs, and the way other people have reacted to us, especially in early childhood. Once an idea or belief about ourselves goes into this picture, it becomes truth as far as we personally are concerned. We do not question its validity, but proceed to act it out in the movie of our life just as if it were true. The self-image then controls what can and can't be accomplished, what is perceived as difficult or easy, even the responses received from others. More specifically, all actions, feelings, behavior, and capabilities are always consistent with this self-image. Not sometimes, always. You will always act like the sort of person you recognize yourself to be. More so, you literally cannot act otherwise, in spite of all your efforts, unless you reevaluate and alter your internal self-image. The person who identifies themselves as poverty-stricken will find some way to remain poor despite all good intentions. The person who has a personal awareness of always being a victim will on every occasion find circumstances to verify the opinion of this suffering. One who has announced themselves as always being sick will find themselves without any remedy for what ails them. You can insert any particular you want into this equation: weight loss, relationships, career, loneliness, bad luck, and so on. The effects of any personal interpretation of the self are universal and based on a cause that is rooted deep within the belief system. The self-image is a conclusion and a foundation upon which the entire personality, behavior, and circumstances are built. Accordingly, experiences and manifestations have no choice but to verify and thereby strengthen our self-images, whether they may be a brutal or a beneficial cycle. Whatever is deemed difficult for a person, whatever frustrations they may have in their life, outward conditions are likely proving and reinforcing those things based on natural laws. On the other side of the coin, whatever a person announces as easy for them, or whatever portion of the identity has developed a belief in something as effortless, painless, and unchallenging, is also strengthened and supported by these same laws. Whichever reality happens to be the case, it's based on certain fixed and possibly concealed patterns of thought that, if changed, will offer new experiences with vastly different results. The most important thing to note about the self-image is that it has the capability of being altered once you reach the root of the cause of the discomfort. One of the reasons it seems so difficult for people to change the reality is because they spend all of their efforts attempting to manipulate their exterior circumstances rather than working on the interior of the self, which is where the true power of manifestation lies. From the physical aspect, The body is made up of trillions of cells that are continuously being replaced with new, younger cells. Scientific research shows that most cells within the human body are regenerated within a period of several years. This means that you are literally a different person today than you were several years ago. It further suggests that most cells that made up your body years ago no longer exist. New cells have taken the place of the old cells, and you are now an almost completely different person. This is incredibly significant because within each one of your cells lies stored memories of who you are, your experiences, and the totality of your life. Parts of these memories get passed on to the next generation of cells, which is why you somewhat look the same as you did several years ago. You think the same, and to some extent, you indulge in the same emotions and habitual patterns of behavior. However, the magnitude of this is that you don't necessarily have to be the same person you have been if it doesn't serve your desires to do so. You have a choice. You can choose to be different. With choice comes change, and with change comes measurable transformation. The trick is to create new, quality, and empowering memories for your cells to work with. It is as though you're writing a script for the cells in your body to act out. The script provides them with all the background information, impressions, memories, and instructions they need to pass on to the next generations of cells. And by changing the instructions, you successfully alter the makeup of your cells and your physical body. Additionally, each cell within the body is a transmitter that emits signals to create according to the directions given. This is how they communicate within their own network as well as to the outside world by sending and receiving signals. If we can successfully alter the instructions within our cells, then the possibilities are endless. With new instructions, through new beliefs regarding the self-image, your cells can transform and send the signals necessary to attract what is truly wanted in life based on the choice of the new self-image. Because our beliefs are reinforced by our outward environment, the significance of this fact is insurmountable. The body is shaped and transformed when cells are given instructions to undergo a new transformation. Being that the cells are able to transform the body in such a way, they must then emit new signals in alignment with this transformation to draw circumstances that validate and match the instructions that have been received. There is no law dictating how long it has to take a person to realize profound relief from external problems. However, the subconscious mind, where beliefs are stored, and therefore the mode in which the cells receive their instructions, requires the proper language and repetition to take a new cue. But most people tend to believe that the more severe the challenge seems, and/or the longer a person has encountered this condition, the longer it must take to overcome it. This is a belief that most will want to challenge, as it is actually as far from the truth as possible. As a human being, you learn quickly. It's how you're designed. In fact, you can't learn slowly. Consider the fact that it has been proven that people who are consistently able to reach their desired goals are performing specific mental and physical behaviors with regularity and predictability. They tend to think in productive ways and enjoy positive attitudes about themselves, their lives, and their role in the universe. In other words, certain patterns of thinking and behaving make themselves apparent when reviewing just how people are able to manifest their desired goals. In turn, the cells within their physical body are in total alignment with behavior and beliefs. Maybe you know of someone who, for some reason, seems to consistently reach his or her goals seemingly easily and effortlessly. The fact is, there are those who know how to create their future in an uncomplicated way, but if you were to ask them how, they'd probably be unable to tell you in any detail. That's because for most people who do things exceptionally well, the secret of their skills resides almost totally at the subconscious level. In order to create the changes you want in your life, It's highly important that you learn to effectively communicate with your subconscious mind the directions for how you want to think, feel, and behave instead of any old fear-based responses and negative sabotaging self-images. A well-formed outcome or goal is one that is stated in such a way that is particularly appealing to the subconscious mind because it is communicated in a language that this portion of the mind speaks and understands. It does not speak any verbal form of language, so you can't just tell yourself you don't want certain responses, behavior, and negative imagery of yourself anymore and hope to change your reaction that way. On the other hand, you can tell yourself what you want by using the language of the brain in order for your brain to understand what you're communicating to it. Here's the key. The language of the brain is vivid, sensory, rich imagination coupled with intense feeling.